Okay, good afternoon everyone. And then let's proceed sa last body system sang animals or sa last topic sa aton animal anatomy and physiology sa module 1, the reproductive system. So one of the interesting topics, especially kung face-to-face kidaghang kayong mga green-minded sa inyo. Pero let's proceed na ta sa aton nga ng discussion proper. So, wala siya, memes ang introduction. So, expected when you first learn about reproductive system, you know everyone will be interested about it. Okay. Let's proceed sa first, of course, ladies first, female reproductive system. So, let's discuss the different parts of the reproductive system, tapos the basics of estrous cycle, and then the parameters, and also some male reproductive system. So let's proceed first sa female reproductive system and its organs. Number 1 is the ovary, and then take note, ovary is the primary organ of reproduction. This is the only organ that produces egg cell and secretes female hormone estrogen and progesterone. So such hormones is essential for the development of the baby of the offspring if mag-undergo fertilization. So kabalan mo ka muna sang purpose ng estrogen and progesterone, especially kina-discuss natin sa endocrinology. And then let's proceed sa fallopian tube. So once ang egg cell or ova halin sa ovary din siya makakadto, actually it salon siya sang fallopian tube. So also known as oviducts or the salpinx. So they are convoluted tube which conduct the ova from the ovary to the horn of the uterus, serves as the site of fertilization. So, amo ni siya ang main site of the fertilization, ang fallopian tube. Okay, let's proceed. After sa fallopian tube, uterus, site of fetal development siya, hindi fetal development. And then the uterus consists of the cervix, the body or the corpus, and the cornua or the horns. And then, dara na siya ga-develop ang fetus up to the point nga fully develop, and then once i-parturition na siya or pagawas, makaagi na siya sa vagina, and also take note, vagina serves as the copulatory organ, divided into vestibule, the outermost part, and the posterior vagina, which extend from the urethral opening to the cervix. And take note, a hymen is formed between the vestibule and the posterior vagina, and then mag-isi na siya once there is penetration of the penis sa vagina. And then last part, main part is the vulva, the external portion of the female genitalia, and the ventral commissure of the vulva conceals the clitoris. And take note, clitoris is the very sensitive organ. So amo na siya ang triggers ang secretions ng mucus para mag-lubricate ang vagina para ang penis once mag-insert, or what we call as the intromission. Take note ha, intromission is the medical term for the insertion of penis into the vagina. So, amo na siya. Mag-secrete sa mucus secretion, and then once ma-lubricate, pwede na kadayon kasulod ang penis. Amo na siya. Take note ha, hindi vagina makita naton, ang vulva mismo. So, may picture na ito na ma-appreciate ninyo. Okay, so this is the typical female reproductive tract. So, just like I said na ang organs such as the uterine tube, gamay lang siya actually, pero ari siya, gin-widen. And then the length varies by species and the structure varies by species. So, i-discuss lang na po later. So, this is the ovary, the uterine tube, and then the uterine horns, uterine body, and then sa uterine body, ari si cervix. And then, take note, cervix, gaserban siya as lock between the vagina and the uterine body. Okay, especially kung estrus ang at the stage of estrus ang animal, medyo mag-loosen siya, hindi siya mag-lock. So willing siya mag-accept sang sperm cells halin sa vagina nga kung dira man gid i-secrete. And then sometimes sa ibang animal species, the penis penetrates from the vagina up to the uterine body or uterine horn mismo. So depende sa animal kung sino to. And then vagina, the urethral opening, this one, and then the vestibule. So, ano na siya. So, take note, this is the typical female reproductive organ of the mare or the female horse, and then this is the typical female reproductive organ of the cow. In terms of ovary, take note that the ovaries of the different farm animals varies between species. So as you can see, the sow ovary is berry shaped or multilobulated, and the cow almond shaped, whereas in mare, the ovary is bean shaped. So ano siya. Okay, so in terms of general structure, there are two types, the bipartite and the bicornuate. So bipartite meaning bipar, so two parts. It comprises distinct uterine body and uterine horn, just like this one. May distinct uterine body, may distinct uterine horn. But there are animals that is bicornuate. Ma-highlight lang mismo ang cornu, meaning horn, so two uterine horns. So sino na sila? That is the sow. So take note, bipartite ang sa cow, sa ewe or the female sheep, the mare, and then bicornuate ang sa sow. And then horns, ano na siya, may mga typical distance na siya sa endometrium. So pwede nyo na siya ma-study ang table for further assessment or for further comparison sang ilang female reproductive tract. Pero in appreciation sa ilang cervix, take note sa cow, it's comprised of 2 to 5 annular rings. And then sa ewe, same, may annular rings siya. And then, ang take note sa sow, ang iyang cervix is corkscrew-like. So, it is in relation nga corkscrew man ginang appearance nga hindi man sila annular rings. Ma-appreciate nyo lang na later once makita nyo na ang male reproductive organ sang boars or sang baboy. And then sa mare, there is a distinct conspicuous folds and clearly defined ang opening niya. So, okay. So this is the typical or the comparative shapes of the female reproductive tract. So sa bitch, siya, uterine horn. Sa sow, take note. Distinct kaayo ang iyang uterine horn. Wala siya body. Hindi siya body ha. Kay dirini ang gatubo ang mga piglets, hindi dire. Okay? Okay. So at the side view or the lateral view sang sa reproductive system ng animals, hindi ni siya amo ni formada. Of course, amo ni ang iyang orientation in order for you to appreciate. Okay? Okay. Just like I said kagina, hindi vagina ang makit-an. That is the vulva. Kung maingon gani ang inyong kaila, o kaiba kung kinsa mo, maingon nga, kakita ko vagina. Yung tamo joke lang. Actually, that is not vagina, that is the vulva. Ang immediately makit-an nimo nga reproductive organ sang female animal. Okay. Tapos na sa anatomy sang reproductive system of female. So let's proceed sa estrous cycle. Actually, sa inyong reference ng ihatag na ako, there are 4 stages of the estrous cycle. The proestrus, the estrus, the metaestrus, and the diestrus. But in this figure, it highlights the hormonal involvement sang kada phase ng estrous cycle. So take note, this one's estrus starts at day 0 and then another 21 days na po, start naman din ang 0. It's because the common cycle or the estrous cycle usually takes every 21 days. So as you can see, so this line shows the estrogen, and then ang darker black, ang black ini is the luteinizing hormone. And then aring isa ni, sorry medyo black and white lagi ta. This is the flow of the progesterone and then the PGF2 alpha. So as you can see, upon release of estrogen, once musaka ang concentrations ng estrogen sa lawas ng animal or sa bloodstream ng animal, once maabot na sa iyang point, that will initiate the LH surge. That is why nakita ka mo sa flow sa estrogen, gradual ang pag-increase. Pero once maabot sa peak, ang estrogen level, it will create a surge of release of luteinizing hormone. That is why it was called LH surge. That is why pinakalitra og ka-increase and then manaog. And that LH surge will stimulate the ovulation. So amo na siya nga time nga magwa na mismo si ova or egg cell or the follicle sa ovary mismo. And then once mag-LH surge na, take note, there's a grad ng downhill of the estrogen concentration. And take note, once nag-increase estrogen, sinong nag-increase? Nag-decrease estrogen, sinong nag-increase? Si progesterone. Take note nga ang estrogen and progesterone, they have counter or negative feedback mechanism. Kung increase si estrogen, nubo si progesterone. Kung increase si progesterone, taas si estrogen. So, i-take note nyo na. So, pagka i-decrease na estrogen and then may ovulation naman din mo, that's the time na si progesterone mag-increase in concentration. Why? It's because atong follicles nga nagwa or nag-ovulate, gina-prepare para sa possible fertilization and further development sang zygote into embryo and then up to the point nga mahimo siya sa mature offspring during pregnancy. And sinong hormone responsible dara for that development? That is the progesterone. It is because the progesterone is also known as the pregnancy hormone. And then of course, kung pregnancy hormone siya, dapat after ovulation, i-ready yan ang iyang self for the i-ready yan ang iyang self to increase para makabulig sa development sang fetus if in case fertilization takes place. Pero if wala gani, kung sa tawo, menstruation ang ba. So, ma-discharge lang na siya. Okay? Nagets? And then, naman na siya na-increase progesterone. And as you can see, once gradually increase si estrogen balik, manaog na po si progesterone. So, na-increase na din naman si estrogen. And take note, there is makita naton nga si PGF2 alpha sa influence na siya sang pag-increase sang estrogen and the progesterone. So, dire siya. Muna. Okay? Hopefully na gets ninyo. Okay. So, let's proceed sa comparative physiology of the reproductive cycles of different farm animals. And as you can see, the length of estrus cycle is 21 days. So, amo to ginambal ko gina sa graph, 21 days ang graph nga. It's because the average of most farm animals is 21 days. Except sa you nga ano lang siya as early as 17 days. Ang length of estrus sa cow is 18 hours. Sa ewe is 29 hours. Sa sow is 48 to 72 hours. And then sa mare, 4 to 8 days ang ilang length of estrus. And then in terms of ovulation, sa cow, 11 hours after end of estrus. And then ewe, near end estrus, 35 to 45 hours after the start of estrus sa sow. And then 3 to 6 days of estrus kung sa mare. And this is the length of the pregnancy. So take note sa cow to 82 days, sa ewe 148 days, actually sa goat and sheep or sa ewe nga female sheep, actually ng 150 days ang count usually, especially on management. Pero of course may plus minus man na siya. Mga plus minus 5. For example, sa baboy, 115 days pero di ba if some of you are practicing swine management, especially mag-manage sa sow, 115 days or 114 days plus minus 5. So either 5 days before 114 or 115 days or 5 days after 115 days. Dara na magbantay kung manganak na ang animal. So, amo na siya. Okay? Okay. Let's proceed sa type of placenta sa different farm animals. So, for the suids or for the pigs and the equines or the horse, the type of placenta is diffuse. So, amo na siya makita ninyo sa actual. And then for the ruminants, it is cotyledonary. That is why nga kung magwang inunlan, sort of may mga ng mga bilog-bilog that is actually the cotyledons. And then for the dogs and cats, zonary or zonal. So ang placenta is aring kita niyo gaytong niya actually, that is why zonary siya ang term. It's because na-specify lang sa certain zone ang placenta, not necessarily the whole itself kung diin ga-develop ang animal. And then discoid, it is common in primates, rodents, and lagomorphs. And then discoid type of placenta is also considered highly associated of being hemochorial. That is why nasa mga primates, rodents, and lagomorphs, bloody kaayo ang igang pagpanganak when compared sa other farm animals. So, ano na siya. Okay? Tapos na tayo sa female reproductive system. So let's proceed sa male reproductive system. So the different organs are the testes, epididymis, scrotum, and others. So let's discuss this one by one. First is the testes. It is the male regenerative organs. And then Kung sa babae, sa ovary produces egg cell, sa laki, ang sperm cell produce sa testicles, specifically in the seminiferous tubules of the testicles. And then they secrete hormone testosterone in the interstitial cells of the interstitial, oh sorry, typo error siya, in the interstitial cells or Leydig cells di siya. And then it is contained in the scrotum. That is why nga makita mo sa mga ibang animals, loy-loy, actually testicles na siya, and then nagaputosin na is the scrotum. And then it is termed or also known as the thermoregulatory organ. Why? Kaya kung bantay mo bisan sa inyo sa mga male animals, kung tugnaw gani ang scrotum is ma-contract, resulting nga ang testicles ipasulod near sa abdominal cavity. Whereas kung init gani kaayo, maloy-loy na siya. Why? It's because nga ang testicle should be below the normal body temperature of the animal. So if in case nga intra-abdomen or ara mismo sa sulod sa abdomen ang testicles, normal body temp na siya, expected nga same man ang temperature nga ma-aquaria. So as a result, it will affect the sperm count and also the fertility of the male animal. That is why nga kinanglan iloy-loy. It's because para below lang siya sa normal body temps ng iya mismo nga lawas. Next, the epididymis. This is the long tube connecting the efferent duct of testes with vas deferens, and it consists of the body, head, and tail. So function, maturation of sperm cell, and also storage of sperm cell and passageway for sperm cell. Okay, of course, testicles, produce na silang produce every day, every hour, every minute sang sperm cell. But the question is, di man nila store, especially kung hindi pa mag-erection ang animal. So, dito sa epididymis. Okay. Next is the penis. It is the male copulatory organ made of erectile tissue, and then the free end siya, sorry for the typo error, is protected by the sheath or prepuce. And then inside of the penis is the urethra, and it is common passageway of semen and urine, just like I said kagina, sa urinary system. So accessory sex gland, it is the ampullae, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and the bulbo-urethral or Cowper's gland. So another assignment, ano ang mga ginaproduce ng ampulla, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and the Cowper's gland. Okay? So amo ni siyang typical structures ng testicles. So makita ninyo, diagrammatic sketch, amo ni siya ang epididymis, the testicles, and then the seminiferous tubules, the retitestes, tunica albuginea, and the septa, which is divided sa mga seminiferous tubules. Okay, this is the typical structure, comparative anatomy of the reproductive system of male animals. So as you can see, the boar, ram, and the bull has sigmoid flexure. Ano na siyang sigmoid flexure? Actually, sort of flexure na siya para makasulod mismo ang testicles. Kaya syempre, kinanglaman na taas para makapenetrate mismo sa vagina sang female counterpart nila. So, and then you need also to take note, the sigmoid flexure of the boar is located anterior mismo sa iyang testicles, and then sa ram and the bull, posterior. So, i-take note man. What I mean is, sorry, not anterior posterior, but take note that the sigmoid flexure is located cranially sa testicles sang boar, whereas sa ram and sa bull, ang sigmoid flexure is located caudally in relation sa ilang testicles. And then for the stallion, wala siya sigmoid flexure. Also, dogs don't have sigmoid flexure. And also the cats. And then, okay. For the common terms of male animals, so amo ni siya na familiar naman to sa female, and this is for the male. And if castrated sa horse, ang tawag sila is gelding. So ox is steer, pig is barrow, sheep is wether, so as goat, and then for the chicken is kapon. And then, amo na siyang typical structure of the penises of different farm animals and of the sperm cell. Take note ha, ang sa cock or sa rooster, amo na siyang sperm cell niya. Hindi siya paddle shape, but spiral shape niya actually. And then may hook shape sa rat, and then paddle shape sa iban nga mammals. And then as you can see sa boar, spiral shape. So in relation sa atong female reproductive organs, di ba ang sa cervix ng female, ano to siya? Corkscrew shape. Kaya nga ang corkscrew shape, it's because gina-inline man na siya sa male counterpart niya. Kaya ang penis ng boar na mag-penetrate dito is spiral shape. That is why. And then the feature man sa ibang animal, for example, the ram or the male sheep, may ara siya vermiform appendage. Aryo. And then, sa ibang bull, yung ilang structures ng ilang penis, and then sa stallion, ari. Actually, kung sa stallion, kung sa actually may, kung sa ano pa, tanaw nga akong kamot, damo na, none. So, S pa na siya. And then, that is why ang stallion is may accumulation na siya sa mga bato-bato sa iyang penis, and that is what we call the beans. Kay tungod nga ga-release diri sang smegma. Hindi na ako magambal kung anong ilonggo sa smegma. Kamu na lang search. Kay medyo green na siya. Okay? So, any questions? So that's it. We already finished the anatomy and physiology. So, in relation sa aton memes, dere, if you don't study, you shall not pass. Yes, it's because AAS 101 is a foundational subject of all AAS or animal science subject ninyo sa inyong whole stay diri sa NONESCOST. So hopefully you will take seriously sa sining subject. Wala na siya akong advice, study in order to pass. Okay? That's it. And then just proceed na sa module 2 sa next nga mga videos. Thank you.